What's going on, guys? This is Emmett back again with some more NBA content. I know I've been off the grid for some time, but now I'm hoping to upload NBA content on a more consistent basis now for you guys to enjoy. The 2019-2020 NBA season is about to kick off in full gear starting on Tuesday, and many people are anticipating this year because of the fact that there are no more super teams and there's no clear favorite to win the title. Today I will be going through my Eastern Conference predictions for this year and who I will think will finish at the top. I did not use any stats or events from the preseason to help me make these predictions because I don't think that gives us a good picture of how teams will fare this year. But without further ado, let's get right into today's video.
In at number 15, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. The year after LeBron left for the Lakers, it seemed like the Cavaliers just fell apart in almost every aspect. They had nobody really close to all-star level, besides an injury-riddled Kevin Love. Last year they ranked in at 29th in points per game, 29th in assists per game, and 26th in rebounding per game. With those team stats combined with a shaky new coach in Larry Drew, it's no surprise that they struggled to keep up with the league with their leader gone. They had a solid rising star last season in Colin Sexton, averaging 16.7 points per game and 3 assists per game. It came as a surprise when they decided to take Darius Garland as the 5th overall pick when they already had a strong point guard in Sexton. Still, Garland is a big threat when it comes to scoring as well as 3-point shooting. It will be interesting to see how well they play together, but it's going to be a long process for the Cavs moving forward in the year. New coach Jeff Beilein, coming from Michigan, will hope to give these guys the best chance to develop and play as a team. It was a sad summer for the Charlotte Hornets entering this year. Losing your star player from the last 9 seasons has to hurt, but looking back at the success of the team in the last decade, you can't blame him for not wanting to stay. On top of that, Jeremy Lamb walked out the door to the Pacers, leaving the best scorer on the Hornets from last year to be Cody Zeller and Marvin Williams at just over 10 points a game. And to add to that pain, they are still haunted with awful contracts, with Nick Batum making $24 million, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist making $13 million, and Bismack Biyombo making $17 million. There's a very slim chance that Terry Rozier even plays close to being worth $17 million a year, especially from shooting 38% from the field and 35% from 3, but we'll see. There's not much bright side to the Hornets, but regardless, they are a very unselfish basketball team under second-year coach James Borrego with a lot of young talent and a lot of players with high expectations, such as Miles Bridges, Malik Monk, Dwayne Bacon, Devontae Graham, and rookie PJ Washington. They will still be pretty bad the next 3 years, but the Hornets are in full rebuilding and development mode. Looks like the Knicks have been established the laughingstock of the NBA, missing out on Kyrie, KD, Kemba, Zion, and Anthony Davis. That has got to hurt. Instead, the best they could settle for was Taj Gibson, Bobby Portis, Julius Randle, Marcus Morris, and rookie RJ Barrett. Even worse, they overpaid Randle, 3 years $63 million, Gibson, 2 years $20 million, and Portis 2 years $31 million to put up subpar numbers. Still, the Knicks already have some really good young talent in Dennis Smith Jr. and Kevin Knox, who both averaged 13 points and 5 rebounds. Last year, up-and-coming center Mitchell Robinson, very athletic and versatile, averaged 7 points and 6.4 rebounds to go along with 2.4 blocks. RJ Barrett will look to translate his game to the NBA level from Duke, where he put up 22, 7, and 4 on a star-studded team. On a very spread out and young roster without many veteran leaders, second-year coach David Fizdale will try to find the best system for this young core to play together. They will be better than last year, just not by that much. It's very hard to tell how the Wizards will fare this year. Most people will start to look at the point guard situation. You have John Wall, who will likely be out most of this season, if not all of it, due to his Achilles injury from falling in his house from last year. Isaiah Thomas is next in line, likely missing the first couple weeks of the season recovering from surgery on his left thumb. That leaves 30-year-old Ish Smith to take the load to start off the season, a score-first point guard who averaged a decent 9 points and 3.6 assists off the bench for the Pistons last year. It will be interesting to see how that point guard spot will be filled, since the Wizards don't have many playmakers on the court. Besides Bradley Beal, The Wizards don't really have any legit scorers besides Rui Hachimura if he booms this year for them. I think the Wizards this year will be put in a similar situation as the Hornets. They have one star player and almost nobody to help him. Wizards fans should expect nothing more than just missing the playoffs. A team that has been in the bottom half of the Eastern Conference since the 2015-2016 season, they are ready to make a push for a potential postseason appearance this season. A healthy Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen are poised to play 82 games each this season, but it's still important to note the Bulls still ranked 29th in the league in offensive rating, 27th in opponent field goal percentage, and 26th in opponent field three-point percentage last year. Adding key players such as Thomas Satoransky, a very solid point guard for the Wizards, who last year averaged 9 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 5 assists on very efficient shooting at 45.5% from the field and 40% from three, as well as Thaddeus Young to help on the defensive side of the ball off the bench. Wendell Carter got off to a slow start last year, but showed many signs of promise the second half of the year. Kobe White's fantastic showing in the Summer League has Bulls fans very excited for him this year. Depending on how he performs, he could snag a six-man or even starter position over Chris Dunn and Thomas Satoransky. The Bulls will be a team to watch this year for sure. The Hawks are probably one of the teams with the most to prove this year. Even though Luka Doncic got the Rookie of the Year award, Trae Young most certainly put up the numbers to earn that award last season, putting up 19.1 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 8.1 assists. It's safe to say that he will be looking to make a statement this upcoming season. I believe that the Hawks had one of the best drafts of any team in the league. They picked up a solid 3-and-D player in DeAndre Hunter, who averaged 15, 5-2 last season for Virginia and led them to a national championship. They also got a semi-steal in Duke star Cam Reddish at 10th overall and an athletic center in Bruno Fernando to fill that center void along with Damian Jones and Alex Len with the 34th pick. A potential starting lineup of Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Alex Len sounds like a team that could really surprise the East this year. I can't put them in playoff talks yet due to their inexperience and them being on the back half of the rebuild process, but watch out for them going forward. I have to give props to the Magic last season. They really surprised everyone by making the postseason, their first appearance since the 2011-2012 season, where they got knocked off in the first round by the Atlanta Hawks. The team led by first-time All-Star Nikola Vucevic and Evan Fournier, as well as needed veteran leadership in DJ Augustine and Terrence Ross. It was a shock to most when they took Game 1 to the eventual NBA champions Toronto Raptors after DJ Augustine knocked them off with a cold-blooded three. They would end up losing the next 4 games, but it was fun while it lasted. Over the offseason, they signed their All-Star Nikola Vucevic to a 4-year, $100 million contract. Well-deserved, although I'm not sure that was the best move for the organization. Mo Bamba is one of the young players with major potential in this league, averaging just 6 points and 5 rebounds in 16 minutes of action due to coming off the bench and playing behind Vucevic. I wouldn't be surprised if the Magic choose to trade him this season. They also took a chance on Chuma Okeke out of Auburn and are waiting to see if Markelle Fultz is ready to take a full workload. I think the Magic get denied this year, but have hope for the future. The Heat have been stuck in no man's land for around 3 years now, but they are looking to change things around after many changes to their roster. The departure of D. Wade made many fans upset, but they have much to look forward to. They got rid of cap space by dealing Hassan Whiteside out of Miami to Portland in exchange for a more modern and young power forward in Myers Leonard as well as Mo Harkless. The cap space was used to sign star Jimmy Butler to a 4-year, $140 million deal, who averaged 20 points, 4 assists, and 6 rebounds last season. Adding sharpshooter rookie Tyler Hero, who will hope to be an asset for players to kick out to when they drive. Time will tell what an aging Goran Dragic will bring to this club, who averaged 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists last season. He is still a solid point guard, but going forward he might start to come off the bench and replaced by someone like Justice Winslow. Bam Adebayo is an up-and-coming center with through-the-roof potential as a big man. The Heat will fight for this last playoff spot in the East, but don't be surprised if they aren't a first-round exit. The Pistons' playoff history has not been pretty. They haven't won a single playoff game since the lasting days of the Chauncey Billups Rip Hamilton era in 2008. They also only made the playoffs 3 times since that year, all resulting in first-round sweeps. This is partly because of unfortunate draft picks that ended up being busts rather than assets to the team, such as Stanley Johnson and Henry Ellenson. They also had lots of movement in the head coach before they eventually hired Coach Stan Van Gundy from 2014 to 2018, who only led them to one playoff appearance. But the Pistons seem to be back on track since signing former Coach of the Year Dwayne Casey, who led them to the playoffs with around the same roster as the year before. Blake Griffin is ready to make a huge leap this year, averaging 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists last season to lead them to the playoffs. The biggest adjustment to his game has been the amount of threes he has been able to make, with 189 last year, which is almost more than all his previous seasons combined. Andre Drummond continues to be a rebounding machine and rim protector, and his free throw is still better than 38%. The two bigs looked like they could play well under Coach Casey last season, so we will see if that holds. They have a great supporting cast as well. Luke Kennard played solid for them in the playoffs and could look to be a good third option for them this year. Time will tell how newcomers Derrick Rose and Sekou Demboya will perform for them, but if they show out, this team could make a surprise run in the East. Raptors lost their superstar and Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard. This team still won the NBA Finals last year and did it as a team too. Kyle Lowry looked like his near all-star form again in the playoffs, and especially in the finals, where he averaged 15 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. It certainly didn't look like the Kyle Lowry that choked against LeBron multiple times in the playoffs. Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol brought very solid leadership and playoff experience for them, and were huge assets in denying any kind of inside or post scoring in the playoffs, especially with Giannis in the conference finals. And let's give Pascal Siakam a standing ovation, shall we? The kid from Cameroon almost doubled his points, rebounds, and assists from the regular season last year, and straight up balled out in the playoffs, averaging 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. And that's being the second option on the court, and sometimes the third option behind Kyle Lowry. If he continues his development like this, he very well might put up numbers relatively close to Kawhi this season. What a story. It's crazy to think that they were once the laughingstock of the league when they failed after trading almost their entire future for Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Jason Terry. But now they've got two of the best scorers in the league in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. They are still short-handed this season with KD hurt, but they are still a very similar team to last year with D'Angelo Russell. But with Karis LeVert ready to go back from injury, who averaged 13, 4, and 4 last season, Joe Harris continuing to shoot the lights out at 47% from 3, and another inside force in DeAndre Jordan, the Nets might give some of the top East teams a run for their money. I'm unsure how the rotation will be with two true centers in DJ and Jarrett Allen, but their roster is deep and has a very solid bench with Spencer Dinwiddie, Rodions Kurucs, and Taurean Prince leading that squad. I have some questions on Kyrie's attitude and leadership this year, but regardless, they will be a really talented group. I was expecting the Pacers to put up a better fight against the Celtics in the postseason, but regardless, it was really impressive how they stayed on the winning side of the East after Victor Oladipo went down with his right knee injury in January. Many expected them to decline after the injury. It is unclear when Oladipo will return back to action, but it is clear the team can win without him. Miles Turner is looking to be a first-time All-Star this year and will carry the heavy load to start off the year, along with newcomer TJ Warren, who is finally on a winning team where his contributions are noticed. The Pacers picked up Mr. Efficiency in the summer in Malcolm Brogdon, who is part of the 50-40-90 club for his career and a big part of the Bucks' run in the playoffs. They also picked up sleeper in Jeremy Lamb, the only other player who gave Kemba Walker any help in Charlotte, averaging 15, 6, and 2 for the Hornets last year. Lamb, along with Domantas Sabonis, might be the starters to begin the season for Indiana. Goga Bitsie will most likely be a boom or bust player this year coming out of Georgia, but we will see. Once Oladipo comes back, the Pacers might become one of the top 2 teams in the East if they're lucky. Got a great leader this summer in Kemba Walker. He spent his first 9 seasons on a bad team and never once complained about it, whereas Kyrie Irving would have likely demanded a trade after the second season if he was on that team. Now that he is on a contending team, he will most likely embrace the moment and run with it. Walker, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown got to have a taste of what being teammates was like on Team USA, even though the outcome wasn't ideal. Rookie Carson Edwards can be a big steal of the draft if the rotation finds its way to giving him minutes and him performing how he did in the NCAA tourney for Purdue. So far, it is unclear what will happen to Gordon Hayward, who has fallen off since his injury, but he will likely be traded later in the year if I had to guess. Enes Kanter will provide great mentoring to his international teammate Daniel Theis next year, and they will look to make noise down low in the post. Brad Stevens will look to finally make it past the East Finals this season. Could this be the year? They were an overtime period away from knocking off the eventual NBA champs last year, but a Kawhi miracle happened. An exit like that should give Philly the biggest boost in confidence. All of their star players are fully healed as of now and are rearing to go. First off, a starting lineup of Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and Joel Embiid sounds dangerous with a capital D if you ask me. Josh Richardson is coming off a career year in Miami, averaging 17, 4, and 4 last year on 41% shooting and 35% from 3. This could be greatly improved with Ben Simmons' drive and kicks and Joel Embiid offensive rebounds. Al Horford is a force in the paint and a guy that could really spread the floor for Embiid, post-ups and drives. He played great alongside Kyrie, but didn't get the ball as much as he could have, which he will get the chance with Ben Simmons. They could use a little more help off the bench, but they have solid shooters in Trey Burke and Furkan Korkmaz, as well as big potential players such as Matisse Thybulle, who is an absolute beast on defense in college and averaging 3.5 steals and 2.3 blocks at Washington last year. Brett Brown could develop a system that kept at least 1 or 2 stars on the floor at all times, because all 5 stars have the ability to score in their own ways. Watch out for the city of brotherly love this year. The reigning MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo made it clear in his MVP speech that winning the award was only the beginning and that winning a championship is the main goal. He came up short against the crazy tempo of the Raptors, losing 4 in a row, and is determined to make some changes for this year. The starting lineup is essentially the same from last year, besides the fact that Wesley Matthews, a sharpshooting guard, will likely replace Malcolm Brogdon. If Giannis can gain complete confidence in his three-point shot and Brook Lopez continues to fire up 23s a game, the Bucks will be a big threat from deep this year and can really tire out defenses. Chris Middleton is coming off an all-star year and is ready to prove if he is really worth the fat contract the organization gave him over the offseason. But fans shouldn't worry about that. As if their shooting wasn't enough, the Bucks picked up Kyle Korver to come off the bench if the shots are having difficulty falling. Pat Connaughton, Sterling Brown, George Hill, Ersan Ilyasova, and newly acquired brother Robin Lopez will make up most of the bench action. Giannis and the Bucks are hungry this season. What are some of your guys' bold predictions for the Eastern Conference this season? Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Until next time, take it easy.